You're now live, it says. Morning, John.
Good morning, Stephen.
Right, we are getting ready to go live. Hello and good morning to everybody on Royston Radio. Happy Saturday. Hope it's drier than it is today. We're live today on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And we're waiting for Mr. Peter Stewart to arrive either on desktop or on mobile or, well, if he's out on the road, he's out on the road. So we'll wait and see where Peter is. I'll start the clock. So we're on a countdown. Yeah. Okay. So how's the weather, John?
It's not too bad here. We don't have the winds. We do have some rain, but it's not terrible.
No, we've got the rain. Angelica went out for a run this morning. She didn't go too far, but she did go out, which is quite brave. I stayed in bed. I was out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 8 o'clock, so I had a day off today.
All right.
Because I don't want to come in soggy and then have to do Blabbing for Britain. Yeah. Okay. So
we're supposed to get our winds this afternoon.
Yeah.
From 1 o'clock.
Yeah, we're supposed to have winds between 40 and 50 miles an hour later today.
Yeah, as a forecast up to 44 miles an hour.
All right.
But then we're a long way from the coast, further away than you are.
Well, you're in the middle. You're in the Midlands, the Midlands. So
I'm not very far from the. It depends whether you talk about the middle of Great Britain or the middle of England. Yeah. If it's the middle of Great Britain, it's actually in Leicestershire, but the middle of England is at Meriden, which is 4 or 5 miles down the road from me.
Yeah. Meriden rings a bell. What's at Meriden?
The what's the word I'm looking for? The flipping thing to celebrate all the cyclists who died in the two world wars. Can't think of the name for it. You know, where it's like a cross on top of
a garden of remembrance.
No, it's not. It's just a monument is the word I was looking for. In the middle of the green. They've got a triangular green with shops down one side, and the other sides are just road. So, and it's right in the middle of that.
Right, I suppose we best have a weather update. In Wiltshire, we're actually waiting for the winds to arrive, but down in Kent, the winds have arrived and all sailings from Dover have been cancelled, which means that the M20 and M2 are actually got tailbacks of trucks on them. Rail lines into the southwest and Cornwall, they're just not running any trains. Great Western have said, no, we can't run trains. So this is Storm Kieran, which is hitting the south of England hard. Last week it was the north of England. This week it's the south of England. So stay safe, everybody, really. I mean, I don't remember. We didn't used to get weather like this when we were young.
No, well, the snow was worse when we were younger, wasn't it?
Morning, Peter.
But the weather.
Peter, I can't hear you. Peter's sorting his microphone out on the desktop this week.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Yeah, all is good.
Winters were definitely harsher in the 60s and 70s.
Well, I posted a picture, as you do on Facebook, with a 60s snowdrift, which was about 4 foot high, and kids going to school and playing snowballs along the way. And then contrasted with a picture of 2022, where there was a light covering of snow and everybody stayed home. So that's the change. Yeah,
it wasn't snow, though, that changed. It was the teachers not going to school.
How are things in Aberdeen, Peter?
I don't know yet. Hold on.
Look out the window.
Do you know, last night I got my... Well, what's happening in Aberdeen is me getting annoyed with Facebook again with passwords, and then even though I've got Dashlane, and then getting my camera fixed, so it was a case of plug and play. This is right. Took it out and put it back in,
Yeah.
and that was that. And then just little things that were annoying me. Coffee machine broke down, so I got another one. It's not quite the one I wanted. I have to watch it manually for my coffee rather than it stops and I have to. Weather-wise in Aberdeen, it's an autumn day.
Yeah.
I'm looking out at the trees. Are starting to get bare. It's been raining. It was a real miserable day yesterday. Everybody was feeling tired yesterday. You know, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a bad day, and the weather can make a big difference to you. And no other major things apart from the big news in Aberdeen that Fraser's store might be coming back. Have you heard of Fraser's? It may be coming back to Aberdeen. That's the only thing I can tell you. It's good.
Right. Well, there's something else that was good. Could we have a Rocking Jocks report from last weekend, please?
All right. Now, the Rockin' Jocks have been asked to do. It was a great gig, one of the best gigs I've ever done. And went so well, we spoke about once a month. Since then, we've had another booking.
Yeah.
And when I went to the pub, I still had my Rockin' Jock trousers on because I go and chill right after it. Went to my local, and there was a lot of people around coming up to me because they'd been in the pub, and I know what it's like to be a rock star now. And no, it went very, very well. And I was listening to, let me tell you a story. There's a guy called Bob Gentle, and he does podcasts, right? And he lives by his name. Bob Gentle, look him up. I remember years ago that I met this guy, and he was the most quietest guy I've ever met. He spoke gently, and I couldn't see any warmth about him. He just, when I went to a networking meeting, he'd done podcasts and social media. Now, he was on someone else's Late Starter, I think it's called, a podcast in America. And I actually listened to a podcast pull through, and it was him talking to this lady. And at 48, I didn't know this about him. He was actually in the search and rescue, climbing out helicopters and everything at one point with the local Coast Guard. Anyway, so he made 48. He decided to pack up and go to Glasgow, right? And he knew that Aberdeen was not going to make him his money. So at age of 40, he went to Glasgow, and now he's got his clients worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
And his story was about taking risks at an older age. And if you get a chance to listen to it, have a look with the Bob Gentle. And I thought it was really good because I remember when I first met him. And it's about, well, look at you, Stephen. You can tell how old you are, but you're still doing new things at your age, you know?
I every week, every day, yes.
And it was just good. I'm 63, and going back to the Rockin' Jocks, and it's what you put in. All this do you know how all this work came with the Rockin' Jocks recently?
Nope.
You know, I've done it. Knocked at the door and went over the threshold. Hi, I'm Peter.
Yeah.
I'm on that day. And then it snowballed into this and snowballed into, and then I'm looking at this pub. Say, what pub group are they in? Oh, we need to go to Dundee. We need to go to Inverness. We need to go to Elgin. And if we can get clicked in with that group, and I even put my prices up. He said, we'd like you once a month. I said, there's another group in Aberdeen. I know what they get. I says, oh, well, we'd have to get the same prices. He says, you've got it. Because if you don't ask, you don't get, you know?
Yeah. Well, you're going to have another song to put in your collection soon, Peter.
What's that?
If I go like this, and I go like this, just a minute, I get it there.
Okay.
the Beatles, Now and Then.
Right.
It's a new Beatles song, Peter.
I think I've maybe heard about this. Tell me more.
Right. Okay. Basically, I was telling John earlier. Yoko Ono sent Paul a track that John had recorded back in a long time ago,
Yeah.
and he thought it would make a good record. But they had a technology problem because John always played with the piano.
Okay.
Yeah. So what they had to do was to actually separate John's voice so that the only voice you can hear is John's, and you don't hear the piano in the background.
Okay.
So the three of them, George, Ringo, and Paul, got together in 2001 and decided to make the track. And then George left us, so that left the two of them, just Paul and Ringo.
Yeah.
And they sat on it for 20 years. Then last year, they got together with some technicians, and they managed to produce the track, which is Now and Then, which is the vocals by John, Paul on guitar, Ringo on drums, and there are some riffs from George in there as well.
Yeah.
So this is the first new Beatles song since the Beatles stopped. So it's actually released tomorrow. It's called Now and Then, and it will be on YouTube, and you can join the queue. There are queues out the door at the moment for people waiting for it to be released tomorrow.
Okay.
I've already put my send me a notification on so I can listen to it when it's first played. And they made a short film about it, how they actually created it. And I could press the button and start this video, but the problem with that is that the whole thing is definitely copyright.
Yeah.
So all you need to do is to go over to YouTube and just type in Now and Then.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to watch a video about how it was made. And there's the cassette that John did. That's where it all began.
Right.
And that's tomorrow, the 3rd of November.
Very good. It just shows. I mean, the songs we do, I've got to give my singing partner his due. He knows the songs to put on. He used to be a DJ like you, and I am singing songs that I've never done. I don't know if you look at the Foundry, you'll see us singing there in the crowd, and wait a, and I would never have done these. No, just can't get that one. Just can't get enough. And then just songs I've never done, and even dressing made a difference. No, with the kind of uniform. And it just showed us different, and we're entertainers as well. No, we'll speak to the crowd, and we are going to be known in Aberdeen. I'll tell you that much now because we've had people apply. It's just a case of waiting your time. Just waiting your time. Never give up.
Indeed, never ever give up. So just before we take it off the screen, I might bring it back later. Now and Then, released by the Beatles tomorrow, starring all 4 Beatles.
Well, you know for a fact I'll go into the charts and make him a fortune.
It will, yeah. It would be good if they actually, I mean, in this occasion, what they could do, Peter, I don't know how you feel about this, is that they could give the proceeds to a charity.
A charity that nobody will complain about.
Well, yeah, picking one that everybody's agreed on. Yes, because we all like to donate to our own charities. Yeah, but we don't know. I mean, the song's not been released.
Well, Yoko not on the copyright of it?
I don't know.
Didn't she not get on with him in the end?
They did fall out, yeah. And John took his relationship to be more important than the group. I think it would be fair to say. But a new Beatles song.
Very good.
Absolutely brilliant. Okay, now there is an inquiry going on at the moment, and it's into how the government handled COVID. I've got to say that what we thought at the time is becoming true, that they were slow to act, and some of the things that are being said, which I won't repeat, they could have acted sooner and saved lives. I think that's going to be without well, I'm going to prejudge this. They're going to say that lives could have been saved if the government had acted quicker.
Yeah, but you got to remember it was all new, you know. But it's payback time. So if you think that's bad, wait until you hear about Scotland. Do you know about Scotland and their WhatsApps?
I know that she deleted her WhatsApp messages.
Not only that, it was government policy, right?
Yeah.
Government policy to delete their WhatsApps after 30 days. Why? Why was it their policy to delete 30 days? However, a lady called Kate Forbes up north, she kept them all.
Uh-huh.
And guess what? So did Hamza Youssef.
Oh, right.
Right?
Yeah.
So they say they've so basically what happened the other week, I'll let you know. Hamza Youssef was the kick-in boy to get replace Nicola, right?
Yeah.
Basically he was placed in. But when she turned up in Aberdeen the other week, she outstaged him.
Uh-huh.
And it was said amongst the group, there's always a leaker, you see, there's always somebody leaking. He said, and I'm not going to swear, I'm going to put the F one. He just said, who the F does she think she is? Now remember, this was her buddy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was that, she upstaged him. And then one day, Nicola said, no, she puts her head like this, look, she goes like that. And she goes, we will give everything to the inquiry, the WhatsApp as well. We will give everything that's required to the inquiry. And her head goes like that.
Yeah.
Then when they asked for it, she goes, we don't have them. We've deleted them.
Wasn't there.
Yeah. However, a Scottish judge has said, whoever's got WhatsApp groups in this government will deliver them.
Mm-hmm.
But they're coming to court. I think it's on a criminal charge or something.
Right.
Right? And this is why all of a sudden they're putting out their WhatsApps. And that is going to be very, very interesting to see. And not even with the case and I think it was even, don't correct me if I'm wrong, look at it later, but even the UK government got involved and said, you'll show that WhatsApps, you know? So, and it'll say, if it might say, I'm not saying it is, it may say, now, if the British government say this, right, we're going to say this. So we'll look better than them. We'll lock down longer.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah, but appearing to be better and being better are two different things. I think we agree on that, Peter. But in terms of what happened during that sort of time, Nicola Sturgeon did at least keep people informed as far as she could.
Well, she kept in front of the cameras. This was her great. She hides from cameras now.
Right.
Right? Yeah. This was her big opportunity. Did you know, with money that you've given our government, don't know if you know this, money you guys have gave, right?
Yeah.
They opened like Scottish offices abroad.
Oh.
Right? Your money. Right? Saying we're Scotland and we get our independence, we'll be doing this on your buck. Right? Putting a little Scottish thing in, going to the EU and meeting them. So no, if we get in, could you give us an easy time to get in? And basically they can't because we don't have a currency, etc., etc., etc. So all these things were going to come out, and I'll tell you something now. The amount of people I've met, well, the amount of people are now saying online on Twitter or X are saying, thank God the Scottish government didn't get in, and I will never vote for that party again.
Yeah.
That's how bad it's got up here. So that's give you a brief of what's going up here. Be careful what you wish for sometimes, folk, but no matter what, some people will blindly vote, even with Labour as well, because your dad's always voted Labour and your granddad voted Labour, and that's maybe why we're in a mess in this country, when you all vote for what your mum and dad and everybody else
Oh
did.
yeah, I think that's total. There's no logic in that. No logic, because governments change. I mean, one government over the course of 13 years can wear 5 different hats with 5 different prime ministers. So you don't know what you're voting for when you vote for a party, because things can change. I mean, there are a lot of people in England are actually saying, "Okay, I'll never vote for them again."
Yeah,
And in their case, it's not the Scottish National Party. It's basically the Conservatives who seem
yeah.
to be rudderless at the moment.
Well, the Reform Party's building up. But did you hear about a party this week? It was refused a party.
No.
Do you know who it was? Well, you know Sir Keir Starmer's had problems because certain members of the party are saying if you don't ask for peace, we're leaving, which a lot of them did. You know about that?
Well, he's asking for peace. He's asking for a truce. Well, not a truce, but not. He won't ask for a ceasefire.
Yeah, well, whatever it was, some of his Labour people have left.
Yeah, councillors. Yeah.
The majority of them Muslims, actually. But do you know what party got refused this week of being a party?
No.
The Islam Party.
Ah.
They set up an Islam Party.
Mm-hmm.
But just like Britain First did, right?
Yeah.
They refused them. They refused Britain First for 6 years. So they went to Northern Ireland and they took them on race, because over there's no discrimination. And they says, you're only doing this because we are white men. And now Britain First had to fight them for 6 years and threatened to take them to the High Court. And I've got a feeling the Islam Party will do the same. This country, folks, is split so much. It's going to be an interesting general election. I won't vote Labour. I will not vote SNP. I will probably have to vote Conservative at this point in time if you can change things around.
Well, we've got new boundaries and hence a new electing an MP for a new area.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see how it goes. And my thoughts would be to actually at this stage vote Labour. But it depends on where you live as to whether it has any effect or not, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a shame that Boris Johnson got 80, what was it, 80 lead.
Coming out of this inquiry from the WhatsApp messages that still exist is the fact that, I'm sorry, he didn't have a clue. Yeah. And he's basically got into that position because he's personable. Well, we're not going to get any further. We're going to enjoy this program, Peter.
Right? Yeah, okay. Just one thing I'll tell people, if they haven't watched before, watch The House of Cards. And right at the beginning, when the guy doesn't get his private secretary job or whatever it is, he looks to the camera and he says, I will make sure I do everything to make sure you have a downfall.
I'm still of the opinion that Yes Minister was a documentary.
Yeah.
And that's what things are really like in Parliament, whichever Parliament it happens to be. Yeah.
Do you know who's been very accurate in politics in America? Do you know who it is?
Nick Clegg.
South Park.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
If you look at South Park from years ago, they basically got everything right. What they put in their characters.
Yeah.
Came through.
I mean, that used to be something you watched every week, didn't it?
Well, I didn't watch it, actually. I didn't really like it. But, yeah, it's quite interesting. Anyway, back to you. Will I try out my new coffee machine once more? I'll just mute myself for the noise. Okay.
Okay. So Peter's got his noisy coffee machine. I'm off to find a story that we can talk about. We've got the weather, which is battering England at the moment. That's Storm Kieran. I would love to know how they actually choose the names, John. Any idea?
I think there's at the start of the year a list is generated, and then they just go through the list.
All right. Okay. And Peter's making his coffee. If you're listening on Royston Radio, I'd like to say thank you. And you can't see the fact that Peter is sat by his coffee machine waiting for his coffee to come through, and then he'll come back to us.
Right. They draw up names from a short list of favourites submitted by the public.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right. I'm just going over to The Guardian, which is my newspaper of choice. Okay, now that brings us over to the area of conflict, which is Gaza. And there are signs that the things are changing slowly and people are being allowed to leave Gaza, people who've got dual citizenship, and that injured people are actually be able to go into Egypt, and Egypt have set up a hospital to take care of people. There are signs, but still the bombardment goes on. And you've got to think, irrespective of your leanings, that to actually live in an area which is being bombed 24/7, to which there is no escape, to which half the hospitals are not working at full capacity, is well. Peter, what's your thoughts?
Hold on.
Yeah, okay.
The things that probably amaze people that don't know, I think it's despicable that they could set up their headquarters underneath a hospital, put munitions underneath a hospital, which is completely against the United Nations and everything. How to stop people going. But here's another thing. Egypt does not want to take refugees then, even for temporary, to help them out, because they don't want Hamas in. They've said, if you look it up, folk, it's saying Jordan, Egypt, can't remember how. They're not letting them in. They're letting British people out and Americans, I think, now. They're letting Brits line up, show your passport sort of thing before you get in. So,
dual national.
Yeah. So, and then I'll tell you what's really, really bad at the moment. The amount of anti-Semitism there is in the UK at the moment. I don't know if you've heard what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's really bad. And one Scottish guy who lives in London in Tower Hamlets, about 2 a.m, he was raided. Do you know why?
No.
Because he went down the street, you can see it online, and there's a big fund getting set up for him. He went down the street and he criticised all the flags for Palestine up, and then what has this city come to? He says you couldn't even put a British flag up here. He was arrested at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have seen it and they're getting a lot of contributions for it as well. And another thing that annoying people, there's 160,000, I think, been raised for the 2 policemen that got sacked. Because a lot of them think they've been thrown under the bus. That's appeasement. So they're fighting.
Yeah. The number of things that you can't do is increasing, isn't it?
Yeah.
The restrictions that are being put in place.
Yeah. So that's what we've came to. The Jewish people are basically can't go to school. They've got to take their, I don't know what they call it, back of their head thing. They're hiding it. They're hiding their Star of Davids. But did you know what they done at the United Nations last week?
Nope.
They all wore the yellow Star of David, like they had to wear in Germany, and they went into the United Nations with it on. That's my bet for Israel, folk.
No, but basically, just down the road, there has to be a 2-state solution. The Palestinians have got to be able to govern their own state, whether it's with the government that they have at the moment or a new government. You can't have a situation. I agree that there should be peace in the Middle East. How we get there is beyond me.
Well, I'm not giving up hope anymore because it happened in Northern Ireland. They stopped killing them. And I saw one where a woman, a Palestinian, a few years back, was saying, my husband doesn't work. I've got 4 boys that don't work. Yet the Hamas son, 20-year-old, has got a Jeep He's got plenty of money. He's got a home, and he's got a wife. We have nothing.
Yeah.
But don't you believe it, folk? People want rid of Hamas. And it goes back to other times. You couldn't say anything about the IRA if you were a Catholic.
Indeed.
Kneecap the next day, probably.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Your policeman fund, by the way, is heading for £155,000.
There you go.
Yeah.
I got a question for Peter.
Yes.
Tell us about Mormont Hill.
Oh, Mormont Hill. I've been to the top of Mormont Hill, and I can see it most days from here, right?
Yeah.
It's basically, I think it's a transmitter station, and I've actually
No, there are some massive.
Oh no, Mormont Hill, big say that's up near Peterhead. Yes, and it used to be the RAF station that they were listening to.
No, this is about cleaning stones so you can see this white stag.
Oh, all right, didn't know that one, but no.
Yeah.
All right, wait a minute. Where is it, Mormont Hill? Is it near Peterhead?
I don't know. It says near Aberdeen in the papers, but that's probably because most people wouldn't know where Peterhead is anyway.
There's Mormont Hill, and there's another. Mormont Hill used to be an RAF listening station, although it was RAF. Yeah, it was Mormont Hill, and there used to be like a big golf ball on it at the top of it, near Peterhead. And it was a listening station for the Bear in the Air, which is the Soviets that used to come into our airspace every so often.
So let's have a look. What does it say? Where is this? The Mormont Hill Stag originally created in 1870.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. So they removed all the gorse, heather, bracken and trees to reveal the white boulders that were used to create it. Mormont Hill near Fraser. How do you pronounce Bugh?
Fraser Borough. It's like your borough.
Yeah, Fraser.
Yeah, Fraser Borough.
Yeah. It's 67 meters by 73 meters, so it's not little.
No. Excuse me. So yeah, that was where the the RAF listening station was at RAF Buchan.
Yeah. Well, there's still load of masts on the top.
Yes.
But there's no golf ball there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was officially opened at the beginning of the week.
Okay. Well, you see,
it celebrates the laird's wedding.
Well, I'll tell you something. I don't watch the local news anymore. I mean, I've got Press Reader, which is free, but now I don't buy papers. I don't buy papers.
I haven't bought a paper in donkey's years.
Yeah, I just don't I just don't read the news anymore. But I can get it every day for free in Press Reader if I want. But I've stopped doing it. Don't watch telly. And that's what I do.
I spotted this one and thought, oh, that must be near Pete.
It's definitely near me. A lonely, bleak outpost if you were posted there. Yes. Right.
John, do you have an accent?
Me? Well, people think I'm from Birmingham, but I'm not.
No, you're proudly from Solihull. Peter, do you have an accent?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure so. We all have a regional accent, which is basically from when we're young. We picked it up, and it's very difficult to actually lose it and move on.
Yeah.
But if I said apples and pears,
yeah,
you up the stairs, apples.
Yeah, yeah, immediately think of Cockney.
Yeah,
and it's disappearing.
Yes.
They did a survey of people between 1835, and the King's English is disappearing, and Cockney is disappearing. So we're losing part of our heritage.
Yeah, it's the same. Seemingly, the Invernessians, people from Inverness, they spoke the best Queen's English. as it was known at the time. But even it's a city now, actually. Even that city's changed.
Yeah.
That city's changed big time, you know. And because my partner's from Inverness Shire, right? She's been here that long, but sometimes you can hear a twang, that northern twang, you know.
Yeah, you can't hide. Well, Angelica's been in Wiltshire longer than she was in Germany, so Angelica's got a Wiltshire accent.
All right.
But if you listen, if you just met her and you were listening, then you'd pick up in the background her German accent. But she's a Wiltshire lass now, so.
I mean, I've picked up German accents here, and I'll say, "Excuse me, are you from Berlin?"
Yeah.
Yes. And they came here after the war. Some of them married soldiers and that. Just picked it up.
Where I live was part of Warwickshire until 1974.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Bear Pit Karaoke, guys?
Not until now, Peter.
So Bear Pit Karaoke. No, I think the guy is Dutch. I'm not sure if he's Dutch. But in Berlin, in the summer, on a Sunday, you go there and it's absolutely packed. Thousands of people. And it's like a gladiator ring near the Mauer Wall, a Mauer Park or something. And you go and it's a karaoke. And you sing to all the crowd and he takes it, you give him a tip. My mate was talking, and he's so well known, he was invited to London and he'd done one in a park there. Bear Pit Karaoke. So another reason to go back to Berlin. I am screaming to get back to that city. But I'm going to wait at Tenerife in 2 weeks. Tenerife, as they call it. Yeah.
Well, we're off to Germany over Christmas. So that's from around about the 17th to the 4th.
Yeah.
John, are you doing anything over the New Year?
No. Probably go to our daughters or something like that, but but not anything specific.
Right. I just advance notice then next February would be my birthday on February 22nd, and I'll be celebrating my birthday in Brisbane. So
are you going to Australia? See your lad?
We've been invited over, which is absolutely brilliant. So we're going to see James and Karen and spend some time in Brisbane next year. The only complication I've got, is I've got diabetes, which means virtually uninsurable, and you've got to take care of the medicines before you go and register before you go, and a whole range of things to be done. Can't just.
But you will get insurance. You just to find it. Almost stationary.
It's the price, Peter. I mean, I checked it out, and it's 152 quid.
That's worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, even today, I've been to see the physiotherapist this week and the week before, and I was stationary. But I'm going right on to them later on and saying, oh, by the way, I was in to see the physiotherapist, nothing major. They give me a massage, I had tight muscles. Because if anything happens, you go, oh, you didn't tell us about that. Oh, I'm not giving you this anymore. I don't trust them. Right. You know? So, no, it's good that, and diabetes nurse will be able to help you out and things like that, you know? And it certainly changes your life. In fact, I sold some kit. I sold my bows. And the guy come up, he's got a new singing partner, a lady much younger. And this is, she's not actually diabetic. She goes, she is. I says, and how's she getting on? He says, she doesn't. She keeps having hypos. I says, she's going to have, and you know something? Through vanity, she won't wear a patch.
Right.
She doesn't want people to see the patch. She says, it's a lifesaver.
That's true.
Said, you need to have a word there. I says, I'll tell her, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy.
No.
And I mean, I had the flu jab on Saturday, which was, I've got to say that going for a jab these days, it's a military operation.
Yeah.
We've got a new hospital, and they used to use the old corn exchange, but now they use a brand new hospital on the edge of town. And basically, the appointments are every 2 minutes, which gives you some idea of how well organized it is. Basically, you just walk in the front door. There's somebody controlling the queue, and they say, right, there are 6 cubicles down there. Please go to cubicle 4. And you go to cubicle 4, and there's a nurse at the front of the cubicle, ready with the questions and the jab. And behind her is somebody running the computer system, making sure you are who you say you are. I mean, I'm fortunate that my birthday, I just say my birthday and they know who I am. So obviously there's nobody else born on the same day as me living in devices. But it was just a military operation. You went down the corridor, you went into the room you were told to go in, you just stood there, you rolled up your sleeve, looked the other way, got the jab, and then just walked out the door.
Well, the last time I had a jab, it was a military operation because it was a staff sergeant from the Royal Anglians up in Scotland, because Nicola Sturgeon didn't have enough hospital people and staff, so they got soldiers up to help them. Okay, and that was the last time I got a jab, and that's the last time I'll be taking a jab. I'll take my chances. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, I've had the COVID and the flu. I've got 2 jabs to go.
Yeah,
and then I've had the full set. You know,
I'm going to take my chances.
Yeah, well, it's a choice. It's a free choice, isn't it? I mean, we don't know.
Matthew Perry, did you see him? It's a sad thing, like, but you know Matthew Perry, Friends?
Yes. Yeah, it's sad.
Heart attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is the inquest result in? I don't think it's
well, you know, but the guy, he said, I've taken my job and get a T-shirt with a job or something. And the guy put a one-liner, sorry to hear about your death. It's sick. This is it.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, it happened. But you don't. Do you know he spent about 9 million on drug rehabilitation? 9 mil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
it's just so sad. I mean, a show that ran 10 years that kept millions around the world entertained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it much, but when I did watch it, it was quite funny. I liked what was the long, tall lady? The tall lady with the long hair. I liked her.
Lisa Kudrow.
She was funny. I liked her. Yeah.
Yeah. They all had their own sense of humor.
Yeah.
But he was an actor.
No,
actor.
I'm going to tell if there's any woke people listen to this radio station. If there's any woke people, I'm sure you don't, but don't put in YouTube and put in "love thy neighbor." Please don't do that.
Is this reverse psychology, Peter? Right.
Yeah.
The other night, I decided. Basically, what happens? OneStream did a Halloween competition.
Yeah.
And as you know, you can design your own web page. And I designed on Canva a Halloween card, and I get it all set up to enter the competition. And I thought, right, I'm going to go one stage further than this, and I'm actually going to do a reading. So I went over and I was searching for horror stories free, which is the best way, or copyright free.
Yeah.
And I found Edgar Allan Poe, who from basically when I was younger, when we used to read it at school.
Mm-hmm.
And a poem of his, he's called The Raven. And so on Halloween Eve or Halloween, I actually read on air a poem by Edgar Allan Poe. And I quite enjoyed doing it. I mean, basically, I did it. I recorded it beforehand. Yeah. So I had the recording. I just brought that on and played it. But I did the intro and the outro live. And I totally enjoyed it. Just basically story reading live. Because you've got to remember that nobody can actually read. Yeah. Especially if your sight's bad. So having well, that's why Audible is so successful, because you can listen to a book. Just a minute. Alexa, read Pride and Prejudice.
Resuming Pride and Prejudice. Read with Kindle Assistive Reader. How could it was in you, my dear Mr. Bennet? But I knew I should persuade you at last. I was sure you loved
Alexa, stop. So even Alexa can actually read you a story. Yeah, a free story. So I'm think I might do a couple more of readings. I did think about reading one of my favorite books, which is Pride and Prejudice. But then I looked at the size of it and I thought, no, that's going to take me a few years. So that's not the one I'm going to choose. And basically, you can have a series of graphics on screen which change whilst you're live and just read the story.
That's what sends me to sleep now. I stopped Audible. I got rid of every $7.99 thing I found in my account. I was saying, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. So what I do now is I go in to listen to podcasts with different people.
Yeah.
I never hear the end of them. I'm sleeping. It's great. And then I wake up and throw the earphones off, and so that's it. But no, I don't have patience for reading just now. That's why I love YouTube and reels on Facebook and YouTube shorts and stuff like that. It's just what I need. Just what. Now listen, here's a name I'm going to mention to you, and you've probably not heard of it for a while. Can I mention it?
Of course you can.
Ukraine.
Well, this is what Zelensky said, isn't it? He said because of the Gaza situation. Well, you tell a story, Peter.
Well, basically, it was on the television. I was listening to the radio this morning. Nobody's mentioning Ukraine, and it was brought up in one of our ex-defensemen. I'm so glad you brought this. Nobody's talking about it more. But there was two well-known Russian pranksters phoned one of the European Parliament ladies. But I can't remember which country it was now. I think it was anyway. What's happening in Ukraine? She goes, well, everybody's getting a bit fed up about it now. We want out of it. Really, the Europeans really wanted to stop and get out of it now. But nobody sees a way of doing it. And we're all getting fed up of it. Because you're not hearing it much now, are you? People will still be dying today. Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Did I tell you I've spoke to two people in the kibbutz?
No, the Guardian's still keeping up with things.
Did you see the Guardian Jewish man? The one of the guys there has walked out. A Jewish guy from the Guardian.
No, I didn't.
I was I think this morning. One of their journalists is disgusted. He said that the way they're doing it, and he's left his job. That's two people I know of that have left their job. But I've got a cousin living in a kibbutz, and also a guy that was forced out of Aberdeen here, and he's living. He lives in Tel Aviv, and I says, "You still get bombed?" He says, "Yeah, every day." I says, "All right, what's it like living?" And just carry. Oh yeah. Then he says, "Peter, I've still got property in Aberdeen. Have you got a name of somebody who'll help me with insurance?" Just changed it to everyday talk.
Yeah.
So used to it. I said, "No, but what are you doing?" He said, "I've got an M16. I've got an M16. Well, we're all carrying guns where possible." Yeah. I says, "Are you not in the reserve?" Because he's younger. No. He says, "I was invalided out of the reserve."
Right.
And my cousin's not a reserve either, but he's part of the local militia in the kibbutz, you know. So, I was keeping in touch with him just to see what was happening. So that's the story.
Yep.
Just get from the horse's mouth.
You mentioned a moment ago, Peter, 7.99 things, which is where you sign up for something and then forget you've got it. One of those 7.99 things, which I'm finding invaluable, is Kindle Unlimited.
Yes.
Where there are millions of books you can actually read, and I actually on my Kindle, I read rather than binge watching TV, binge read, so I can read a whole series of books, mainly detective books, it has to be said.
Yeah.
And you don't pay any extra. So the author is winning because they get a royalty on every page you read.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win situation. And I basically read 3 or 4 books a month for free. Well, effectively, you know.
Well, that is one that I cancelled. Even Audible, I cancelled. I just don't have the patience for them. I've got Sheila went, and I will not let Sheila throw. Look at all these books that you've got. I might need that one day.
Yeah.
So I think she gets
Right.
rid of the things without me knowing.
Yeah.
And she'll get, I've got a big book, whatever. I says, where's that lead I had sitting there? Well,
Right.
you're never using that. But I says, I need that now. It's gone.
I mean, we've all got these tremendous book libraries from books that we bought over the years. Before Kindles, you actually bought the book and read it. And I still go into town and buy the odd book. Yeah, I've got a book at the moment, and I'll show it to you. Just a minute. I've got to extricate it, and it was bought with a huge saving. This is No More Secrets.
All right, Bletchley Park.
Exactly so. It's from a lady who was at Bletchley Park and the Pentagon. And if I put my glasses on, I can tell you who she is. Okay, so let's put the glasses on. Betty Webb, MBE, Legion d'Honneur, is a 100-year-old veteran who served at Great Britain's secret code-breaking operation at Bletchley Park and the Pentagon in the US during the Second World War. She lives in Worcestershire. So that's what I've started reading. And very good it is.
That was one of my best, if you were to say what was one of the best things you've had in your whole business career,
Yeah.
it was meeting a woman from Bletchley Park in Aberdeen.
Mm-hmm.
It was a maths teacher, and a book like that had come out before, similar. I was in, and she was really prim and proper, I could tell. And there was two guys working at a window, I might as well tell you. And I said, I looked at a book and I looked at it, I says, you were there, were you? And she went, how did you know that? I says, I'm clever too. I says, I knew you were there. And she goes, yeah. No, I'll never forget this. Because I said, the two young guys who were putting that window in for, I says, no, you make sure you look after this lady, right? I says, this people like us done a lot for the country, and I told them. And I said, do you know Bletchley in the snow? I said, have you heard of the film Enigma? Yeah. I said, well, this lady was there. Make sure. Then she says, how much am I owe you? It was 60 quid. And I said, do you know, you are owe us nothing. We are owe you. I says, that's free from me. No, it was 60 quid. You know what she said? That's the first time I've ever been paid back in 60 years. Because they weren't allowed to tell anybody.
No.
Some of the men, basically their families disowned them, basically, because what did you do in the war? They couldn't tell them.
No, top secret. Secret.
And it turned out she was a teacher from my school as well.
Yeah.
So that was in Karma. I went in my van, went round the corner, I had a little cry, and the phone rang, and I got 15 grand's worth of work. Never forget that day.
Yeah, I mean that is serendipity, isn't it?
Yeah.
That you actually do a good favor or make somebody feel good, then down the road, you actually get repaid.
Well, I did say to them, look, I'll let me revise the cost. It'll be £15,060. I got that 60 quid back as well.
So what about the M&S advert being withdrawn for Christmas advert?
Very controversial, John.
Is it? Or is it just what happens in life, i.e. something comes along after you've done something? Because they claim that the video was made months ago. And if you look at who's starring in it, I think it's quite likely that it was videoed months ago.
But there's two adverts, John, who's got a problem.
Well, the advert I'm talking about is the one where they're prepping us for the fact that there won't be hats in the Christmas hats in the crackers this year.
The green and red, really.
Green, silver and red. Hanging on a fireplace. The objective was to tell us, because they're not recyclable, it's green to not have the party hats. And then someone has turned it into, this is all about taking advantage of the uprising and fighting, etc. And I think somebody's just twisted it so much it's not true.
Their other advert is very, how can I put this without causing? Basically, you don't see a white person. I think. Or if they
Yeah,
are, it's a gay
have
bar.
you not noticed how many mixed race families there are in all of our advertising today?
Yes.
Hmm.
You better not say too much now, John. You'll be in trouble.
Have you seen The Twins and the Twins? It's on the news today. I'm sure you'll see it at some stage.
Okay.
There's two sisters, twins, who one is white and one is coloured. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
born to mixed race marriage.
Yeah.
Another pair of twins have been born, and they're exactly the same. One white and one
Yeah.
coloured. And you can see the two youngsters, because they've got to be 6, 7, something like that, holding the babies. But the coloured girl is holding a white baby, and the white girl is, all the way around. So it's quite interesting to see what genetics can do.
But I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm used to it now. You know, another one. You remember Brad Burton?
Pizza man.
Yeah. Well, I think he's sold that business now and he's doing his motorbike. But his
He
dad's
still uses a pizza box in his presentations.
Is he? Well, his dad's a black guy, and you would never have known it. I would never have known it. His dad's a black man as well, and he tells everybody. So I quite honestly, it doesn't bother me.
Well, I'm not saying I object to it. I'm
No,
just
no.
saying it's very prevalent today, because they're all fear of being told off or taken to court and all that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Is part of the reason.
it's water off a duck's back now. It really is. Just get used to it. I mean, I've got there's a street up in Aberdeen. We've got everybody now. It's just so multicultural now. We get a lot of phone calls from people with different ethnicities, and I don't care who they are. I'll take their money.
Well, our allotments is a hodgepodge of internationalism, if you like. We've got Lithuanians, Albanians, various different Asian groups.
Yeah. And in a way, I'm an immigrant to Scotland because now I've looked at my family tree, I'm 46% Irish, which was part of Britain. But
you're not a direct immigrant. You're a historic immigrant.
Yeah. It was only 2 generations back. Great grandparents were from Londonderry at the time. But we're all mixed.
Indeed, we are. We've been invaded that many times over the years.
Yeah, can we get repro? What's that word I'm looking for? Can we get money for the Vikings? That's what I'm trying to ask.
Why?
Because they come over and raped and pillaged us. And I'll tell you another story about my family. We've got one part of my family is Sandison, right? And they actually arrived in Wick, which is right at the top in Aberdeen, and they made their way down. And my auntie married a Sanderson, and they're down in Aberdeen. That's what happened. They come in and wreaked havoc in Aberdeen in a place called Sandilands.
Indeed.
John, have we noticed how the market had plummeted over the last 5 days? The share prices have plummeted. But today, they've started to shoot right back up. So
I know that the pest control big companies have taken a hit. I think Rentokil went down about 20%, and another big one went down 20%.
Yeah, it's our pensions I'm thinking of. Okie doke, folks, it's reached that time to say goodbye to the wet weather in the southwest. It's actually attempting to sunshine here in the Midlands, and from that bloke up in darkest, deepest Scotland, of course, now the clock's back. It's brighter for him in the morning, but it gets dark even earlier today.
Yeah.
So goodbye from him, and goodbye from me.